Boy, there are some struggles with working on an older vehicle with rusted bolts, a few issues. Today we're wrapping up our Quadratech installation of our front bumper, the rocker guards, and rear bumper. I did run into a few issues. We'll get to that. I cheated a little bit. We'll get to that as well. So let's get started. So in my previous video, I had installed the front bumper and the driver's side rocker guard. And during that process of doing the driver's side rocker guard, I really struggled with getting these self-tapping screws in. So I decided to kind of cheat a little bit. I'm learning welding skills, really enjoying that. So I thought, gosh, I'm just going to weld on this other side as well. Found that a lot easier than drilling out the 5/16 inch hole and then putting the self-tapping 3/8 inch screws in. I really struggled to get those 3/8 inch screws in, so I enjoy welding, so I thought, hey, this is a good opportunity for me to practice my skills. So that's what I'm doing. I'm super happy with how my welds turned out on these rocker guards. I think they're super strong. I'm happy. I think they'll last just fine. The front bumper is looking pretty good. Got the rocker guards installed. And yes, I kind of cheated on them a little bit. Instead of bolting them on, as the instructions say, I just went ahead and welded them on. That went a lot smoother and quicker for me. Now we're on to the rear bumper, so let's install this real quick. And to do that, I have to remove the old rear bumper here. I've got a couple bolts right down there I got to remove, but also I've got a few welds up here to get this bumper off. I'm gonna have to grind off a couple spots where it's welded, and actually I have a little bit of repair to do. Yeah, like there's a spot right there. I'm gonna have to kind of weld that up and repair that a little bit. But our goal is to get this bumper off. So there should be 4 bolts. 16 millimeter fits on there real nice. This one here, I'm gonna have to use a regular wrench on it, but let's see if these other two, my extendable, flexible socket, if this wrench will do the trick. Nope, gonna have to use a box end wrench on that. All right, we're making some progress. Got a few welds on the bottom I still got to cut though, but we're getting there. So yeah, obviously the previous owner had welded this bumper on in multiple spots, so I had to cut all of those. But you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to take your bumper off simply by taking those 4 bolts out. And then we're gonna have to remove some body mount bolts as well. Boy, this bumper is actually kind of heavy. But there we go, got it off. And before I install the new bumper, I gotta do a few repairs here. I need to actually pull this side out a little bit where it bolts on. This needs to pull out. There's a crack right there. I need to weld that up. Kind of clean that up a little bit. And then same thing down on this side. Where my new bumper is going to bolt up. I need to pull this bottom end out just a little bit. There's a crack right up there. I need to weld that up. Down here on this side, same thing. Need to grind that down. There's a crack right there. Need to weld that up. So got a few repairs to do to the existing frame here so I can get my new bumper on. So I tried to pull and reshape this existing cross member using the winch on my other Jeep, and as I'm working on it and beating on it with the hammer and using the winch, my plan was to just kind of weld up some of these cracks and defects, and I thought I could make this strong enough, but the more I worked with it, I realized this wasn't going to be enough. This cross member was just too far gone and it really needed to be reinforced. I decided to get a 1/4 inch piece of flat bar to put all the way across the back to reinforce it. So I went out to my local metal supply shop and found a nice piece of metal that I like. They went ahead and cut it lengthwise for me, but they would not cut it all the way down the long end for me. So I had to figure out a way to do that myself. I don't have a plasma cutter. That would have been super nice. I do have a metal cutting blade on my skill saw. Was trying that. It worked okay. Ultimately, I ended up using my cutoff wheel and that got it taken care of. It fits really well. I like how it looks now. I'm just gonna go ahead and tack it on and then weld about every 6 inches or so across the back here. Of course, I ground off all the rust, the surface is prepped, and I'm ready for welding. My welding skills are getting better. I'm still an amateur, but I really enjoy welding. This is a lot of fun for me, so the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. So I've got this all painted up. This looks so much better. It is gonna be so much stronger having this 1/4 inch flat bar on there. That's definitely a reinforcement I needed to make to get this to work for me. Now I'm just gonna get this lined up here, clamp it on. Try not to tip my seat over. And we're gonna have to drill out some holes and mount it up. All right, we've got the holes all drilled up. Hopefully this lines up nicely. All right, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Let's take a look at some of the things I really like and talk about some of the struggles that I had. This 3-piece kit, the easiest part of the installation, honestly, was the front bumper. That went really smooth. I think part of the reason was the frame is in really good shape up here. The bolts aren't super rusted. Didn't have to do a lot of drilling or anything. I did have to cut away the old bumper, but that went pretty smooth. I like the look of this front bumper, the stinger sticking out on the front. Once I get some lights on that, a winch, that's gonna be really slick looking. It gives you plenty of clearance here for your front tire, so if you're coming up on obstacles here, no problem with clearance. I am going to be getting some new shoes on this, don't worry about that. I like the look of the rocker guards. I think that's going to offer some nice protection for my side panels there. You know, this is a Jeep. They're already kind of banged up a little bit, but hey, that'll just prevent any future damage. The installation of those was a part I did struggle with. To install the rocker guards, there's 8 5/16 inch holes you have to drill on each side, 16 holes. And I got the holes drilled fine, but getting the self-tapping screws in, I really did struggle with that. So I decided to cheat and just weld them up. One viewer did give me a nice tip. He said, if you're trying to use those self-tapping screws, self-tapping bolts, if you use an impact gun, it'll actually make it a lot easier. And the rear bumper has that same nice 2-inch tubing and a good receiver right there. This part was probably my biggest struggle because of the condition of the cross member along the back there. I had all kinds of tears in the metal, cracks, rusted part, rusted bolts. I ended up having to put on a 1/4 inch piece of flat bar all the way across there, welded on just to reinforce everything. Gave me a real nice surface though to bolt it up to. I think this will be good and strong. Overall, I'm super happy with the look, how this Jeep is turning out. Why don't you guys leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, have a good day. Let's try an antenna toss here. Oh, rejected.